Howdy YouTubians, wanted to show my latest toy. It's the Mad Zeppelin. Those of you who are familiar with Mad magazine, one of the greatest publications ever issued by man, put out by the usual gang of idiots, you are likely familiar with the Mad Zeppelin. It's a little thing that showed up on the edges of pages and kind of introduced in just cameo appearances in some of the articles. And then in 1965, as an insert of the 8th annual edition of the Worst from Mad magazine, Bob Clark actually designed a pop-out, what do they call it? A free full-color pop-out bonus. Build your own hanging model of the Mad Zeppelin. And within the pages of the magazine were instructions and the pop-out pieces. Notice that I've got just partial pages here. This is kind of a holy grail of Mad magazines. You can find this issue pretty cheaply, usually about $5 to $7 to $10, but they always have missing inserts, either partial or fully gone. There were 2 pages of heavier cardstock that had printed on them the pieces to make this little dude right here. I remember as a kid, my oldest brother gave me one of these magazines and said, "Hey, try to build it for me." I tried, I couldn't do it. 11 years old, it was way beyond me. Well, 53 years later, it was almost beyond me. This thing's a hard model to build, especially, well, I'll show you how I did it. So here's the bottom line. I've been looking for this issue for a few years. Every time one comes up that has at least a partial insert, I buy it. And I actually did find fairly recently a complete issue. Had all the insert pieces, and that has been kept safely away. I'm not touching it. But I found enough magazines that I was able to find a complete page of the hull. Let me show it to you here. Right here. That's the hull page, and another magazine had a complete page with the balloon parts. So what I did is I bit the bullet and I took apart those magazines, pulled the staples out, and removed the inserts. The reason that I disassembled the magazine is, and keep in mind, here's one of the issues that I pulled apart. It had, the back page was ripped off. It's not like I was taking a mint collectible and cannibalizing it. I cannibalized basically otherwise worthless piece of paper. What I wanted to do is make photocopies, and I didn't want to just lay a magazine on the photocopier, like you do, and it has the page shows that it's curled and it gets deformed and such. I wanted to make really good, high quality copies of this thing, and so I did it. What I did is I made a copy of the first page, the introduction, copy of the first page of instructions, second page, and third page. I think there's 1, 2, 3. I think there's another. No, I guess there's just 4 pages here. That one, that one, that one, and that one. And also on heavier cardstock, I made copies of the actual Zeppelin itself. Also, I popped out the pieces so that I could make copies of the actual parts in their intended size. Keep in mind that this is as it shows in the magazine. Well, the actual hull itself is popped out, is slightly smaller. All these pieces, you can see these little kind of lines here. That's where the pop-outs actually are. If you were to cut out just on the outline of the page, you'd end up with parts that don't fit. So I actually took out each piece, and you can see in the back of this, there's all the pieces cut out. So I have a complete Zeppelin here that's cut out, popped out actually. They were die cut, making it fairly easy to remove the pieces. Well, I can't die cut them, and I'm not about to make a bunch of copies cutting them out with a X-Acto knife, but at least I have some real good high quality sorry, I got a cold fighting that. Some real good high quality copies on cardstock, no less. And from those I was able to assemble Mad Zeppelin. This has like been a bucket list item of mine for decades. Always wanted to have one, always wanted to build one, but they were always out of reach. You really can't find any good looking copies on the internet. There's one guy, I don't know who it is, has a real nice article, several pages on how he built his, kind of doing the same method, but there's no scans of the actual documents. So anyway, I was able to build mine. It's not easy because you don't have the pieces pre-cut. You got to cut them all out and fit them. But once you do, it makes a beautiful little cardboard model. So this is what I've done. I've made all these copies here on good cardstock. And if you're interested in one, go ahead and send me a comment, and maybe we can send one your way. What it'll have will be all the pages of the instructions, as I showed you. Where is everything? Oh, I've got it all upside down. All the pages. All right, this page. Now keep in mind you've got this page too of instructions, but it also had cutouts. So those may be missing from some magazines. Anyway, you've got that page. You got that page and that page. You've got a blank piece of cardboard that you can use to put on the table to use as a cutting mat. I've got both pages of the inserts exactly as they were printed in the magazine. Let's say you're missing the inserts. You can cut these to size here, stick them in your magazine. You've got beautiful replicas to at least make your issue look complete. Also, since I popped out every piece, I made copies of those, of the popped out pieces. This is the one that you can actually use to cut out, fold up, and make that. Got those. What else? I've got another copy of the page that has the sales in the stack. Why do I have another copy of that? Well, so you can keep your instructions intact, and also it's printed front and back so that you've got, for example, the front side of the sale, and printed is the back side of the sale. Also, what I did is I did the same thing, copied it on cardstock. And that's what I made this out of. It's so much easier to work with this cardstock. It's much sturdier, and it works. It wasn't easy, like I said. The hardest part was rigging it, but I got that done. I made a little stand for it. You can hang it from the ceiling or whatever, but you can make a little stand. So if you're interested, let me know, and maybe we can send you one of these and give it a try, and then you can have your own Mad Zeppelin. Hope you enjoyed. Have a nice day.